Hello. Okay. That shouldn't be so surprising, but I just wanted to make sure that I didn't mess something up terribly when I was moving files around on my computer. But hello, everyone. Welcome to another live stream. This is Brent and Mike. As you can tell, we are missing one of our good friends this evening. He is still out on injury. Yeah, he's still got his injury.
Medical leave.
He's still on the injury list. So since I'm going to try to keep that sports metaphor alive as long as I can, he's still on the injury list. We hope to have him back in some short order, but tonight it will be just Brent and myself. So we really appreciate it if you happen to catch these live. We really enjoy having conversations and hanging out with everybody. But of course, if you happen to catch this after the fact, we love it if you comment, like, subscribe, do all those things that people do. And we'll only ask for that once, usually at the end. But this time I decided to get it at the beginning.
You got it at the beginning. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, the time that people actually watch the videos instead of hour 4. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? I'm not very good at this YouTube stuff, but whatever.
But however, we sally forth. So
we try our best. We try our best. And hopefully this everything technically is going correct because it's just the two of us.
I did peek in and hear you, so I think we're good.
Perfect. So our sound and engineering is
and Jeff is in chat.
Oh, Jeff is in chat. Woohoo! Perfect. Well, welcome, Jeff. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Hopefully you caught my joke about you being on the injury list. I'm trying every sports metaphor I know.
All at once.
I don't know many of them.
All of them all at once.
All of them all the time. So if you're lucky, I might even have one more to get out there somewhere. I don't know what that's going to be. I'll have to watch some football this weekend just to expand my repartee. So yeah, so I'm going to actually turn it over to Brent today because today we're going to be doing a game that he's running as a duet. So if I happen to have my flesh eaten, then we will have achieved something at that point.
So yeah, we are going to be playing All Flesh Must Be Eaten, which is an older game, kind of an older traditional game, not in the vein of the newer like narrative style games. It has some narrative elements, as I think they're coming up when this game came out. It uses the Universal system. What is that called? Do you remember? Did you see it?
I remembered it at one point, but I thought it was like the Universal system or
Unisystem. Unicorn. I should have remembered that. So it's the Unisystem, which is a kind of general gaming system, kind of like GURPS or basic role playing or games like that that they made All Flesh Must Be Eaten with. So if you're curious, I think you can still buy it. I did look up to see if it's still out there, and it does still seem to exist in some form or fashion, but it is an older game. All Flesh Must Be Eaten is definitely something you can buy. They do have some of the newer stuff has a more cinematic system, I believe, but we'll be using the basic Unisystem tonight with some modifications that I did just to keep the one shot kind of working.
Okay.
So
if this might be the same system, but if this is the one we're talking about, there is the revised edition. You can get it on Drive-Thru RPG. It looks like it's on special. Might be with just because of the time of the year.
Yeah, I looked at their actual. Yeah, All Flesh Must Be Eaten can be. I looked at the Unisystem, like their website, just to see what it was like, and it's like a website from like 2005 or something like that. And it was like, oh, they do have a store, and then I was like, I don't know if any of this stuff actually works. But so it is an older game, but I've always wanted to try it because it's zombies. So yeah.
Oh well, that's interesting. Is that So this is Eden Studios, is that right? And
that's correct.
Eden Studios, was it written by so it says its author was CJ Carella. Is that correct?
Probably.
The only reason I say that is because back in the day, At least, and I might be saying the name wrong, and if I am, I really apologize. But back in the day, he's the one who did the witchcraft book in the like late '90s. That artwork has stayed with me
Oh,
forever.
yeah, that's him.
Yeah, like I don't know why, but that just artwork.
Because I think that game is on their website somewhere.
It might be. I didn't realize, I didn't put the two together. So that is actually pretty funny because I've never had a chance to play the game, but I always really just, that cover was just striking. It just stood out to me, and I've remembered it ever since.
Well, you can put it on our list of old games to someday play, like this one.
Hopefully, that would be nice. I'd like that.
So just to let you guys know, again, as a reminder, it's not going to be the stock Unisystem because I have changed a few things. For example, Mike has created a character already because the creation is kind of bog standard, and I thought it would be a little boring. But I also did remove stuff like they have a merits and flaws system, like every good RPG in this time period that came out, where you could, make your colorblind, illiterate person for more specialty points to put into your stats. So
hey, there was a lot of those games that I really enjoyed maximizing the flaws and the merits, where you could take just the right number of points of flaws where it wouldn't really have any material impact in the game, but you could get a ton of benefit out of it.
Right, you take a flaw like, I'm scared of water and we're in the desert.
No, something even more innocuous. I'm really scared of bed bugs. And then you basically put the GM on the spot, and then you have to be like, oh, now I have to have bed bugs in this thing to have any kind of what?
Or I have nightmares, and then there's you have
but
nightmares,
we never sleep.
But or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The White Wolf games were all bad at that. So I think that was one of the games that really pushed that. So you have made a character. You've decided.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of background of the story. The story is going to take place at the Arthur Sinclair High School Midnight Meteorite Charity Dance and Sleep-In or Lock-In, which is an event that happened in schools, I don't know, sometime in history, where students would go to a school and they would be locked in with some chaperones and have like a party all night long. They existed. I looked it up. I think I saw it in a movie once, and I wanted to see if it was something that people really did, because quite frankly, in these days, it sounds like the most insane thing I've ever heard of in my life. So that's taking place. Roughly 50 students have signed up for the lock-in with how many chaperones did I have? 5 chaperones, about 1 adult per 10 kids. Plus there is a student resource officer that will be visiting every couple hours. As one of the and you made a teacher, the chemistry teacher, right?
Yep, I decided that I was going to go with a chaperone for the lock-in. So meet Bill Bronson, the chemistry teacher, mid to late 50s, definitely been around the block, but he has nothing else going on, so he decided that he would chaperone this thing. Let the kids be kids, whatever, it'll be fine. He'll talk with the other chaperones. They'll all be good. But he is kind of a stickler for rules, so anybody that steps out of line, watch themselves, write them up, do whatever teachers do.
Demerits. Give them demerits.
I'll give them demerits.
Since we're doing a lock-in, which is probably the craziest old school thing that I've ever encountered in my life. But anyways, so with Bill, so I have some questions about Bill's background. You've done a good job giving us some backgrounds already. But give us a few more details of why Bill volunteered tonight. Does he like one of the teachers, the other chaperones, or literally he just had nothing else better to do?
So the two things, like, he didn't obviously have any conflicting plans, but at the same time, he really feels like school is important, and these kind of events are really important for like social development of people, and that they should have the ability to live their student life to the best that they can. And he doesn't want them to be out drinking per se. So these kind of healthy indoor kind of things are safe. They're part of school. He remembers school very fondly when he was a kid, so he likes to kind of help the school out and make it a fun place for other people. such as these,
And
temple
it's for
teenagers.
and it's for charity. A local llama farm burned down, and so all proceeds from the lock-in go to helping them build their farm.
Yep. So he thinks it's going to be fun. It's good for the community. It's it's good for the goose. It's good for the gander kind of guy.
And how long has Arthur been teaching at the school?
Bill.
Arthur Sinclair is the high school.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So Bill, Mr. Bronson's been teaching at the school probably going on 20 plus years now. He did a stint in the military. After he got out of the military, used his GI Bill to get his college degree, then started teaching pretty much right out of college, working as a chemistry teacher the entire time. So obviously sometimes they need him to do other things, but his focus is in chemistry, and so he's pretty much taught science ever since.
For the record, I strongly feel like Mike made him a chemistry teacher in the hopes that he can build an explosive at some point during this game. For the record.
I'm not going to say that that's wrong. There may be a slight angle in that. But I mean, you play a PE teacher, and then you got a person that's in shape. You play a chemistry teacher, you build a bomb. You play an English teacher, and you write sonnets and haikus.
Not in this game. And it wasn't going to be an English teacher that wrote sonnets and haikus in this game. So
no.
So I just knew the minute that you said chemistry teacher, I was like, oh, I know what he plans on this game. Okay.
So, but definitely being in his mid to late 50s, he hasn't kept up with his fitness as well as he should, but he definitely keeps it military up here keeps like a close cropped cut, but he has a nice what are those kind of mustaches, like kind of like a painter's brush or whatever it is, the nice trimmed mustache on top, so people can kind of see that he's the adult in the room. But at this point he's definitely gone gray in most areas, so he's the old man now.
Yeah, he's the old hat there tonight.
Yeah.
So kind of the head count, as Bill would be aware of all of this stuff, about 50, like I said, about 50 students have come in tonight. Mr. Ben Collins is the teacher that is running the meteorite observation on the roof. He was one of the ones that spearheaded using this kind of event to also have a school element, which is having kids come up and observe the meteorite shower over the high school. So there's Mr. Ben Collins, your co-science teacher. There's Mrs. Nancy Collier, who is the English teacher, who kind of just like you, she didn't really have anything else to do tonight. She's a little bit older than you, probably 5 years younger than you. But they're really because she believes in the kids. There's Mrs. Helen Traylor, who is there kind of because she got voluntold that she had to be there. So she's definitely not into being a chaperone for the night as much as maybe the other two of you. Additionally, there are two parent volunteers who came to observe this evening. There is Charlie Oswald, who's the father of one of the students that is there tonight, and Becca Nash, who is the mother of one of the students there. And they will be kind of helping keep the kids organized and make sure no inappropriate behavior is happening during the festivities.
Oh, of course.
Right. They don't want any kids sneaking off or anything like that, because of the Ben pushing for the meteorite observation upstairs. A lot more of the doors are unlocked in the school than they normally would be for something like this. Normally the auditorium would be locked off, but some of the classrooms are open, and some of the way up to the roof is actually open, so the students can kind of come and go as they want. With some, they'll try and have some sort of chaperone there, but it's hard to stop the kids from coming and going as they please.
Would it be safe to assume that Ben is the one who's been put in charge of the master set of keys, so he can close and open doors as he needs and all that stuff?
He has a pair of keys. There is also a pair of keys in the office, but that's locked. But he does have the pair of keys right now. As this kind of became his event that he's running. Also because he's going to be responsible for the kids that are coming and going mostly.
Okay. Sounds good. I don't mind. I mean, for me, as long as I can have like my snacks and everything like that, I'm fine with staying in the evening. My favorite snack is combos, the pepperoni pizza version.
God, oh, those are horrible. Bill, Jesus. So just to kind of give you a rundown, there is the first floor. There is basically a main auditorium / lunchroom, which is like the main place that people walk into. It's a big open space. They usually pull like tables out and stuff like that. That's where there's a little dance floor and there's going to be music, but there's also a theater. And in the theater, they'll be running movies. And there'll be like there's like a snack table in the auditorium area. Most of the classrooms, there is a little map. Did you see the maps that I made?
I did. Yeah, I saw there were maps. Let me see. I think I have it downloaded real quick.
Yeah, the doors with X's on them are mostly locked, or should be locked, depending on if you check them or not. Those are most of the classrooms. There is, and then the black spaces are stairs, up and down. The stairs don't have any doors on them or anything, so most of those are all the way. You can go all the way up to the roof. On the rooftop, there is the greenhouse, which is a student greenhouse, where they have been doing. They have a school program where they can grow like fundamental vegetables and stuff like that, just as a alternative learning method. So, on the roof with greenhouse, there's going to be whether Bill likes it or not, there's an alternative education group of kids, and then there's 4 spots where telescopes have been set up.
Okay.
And Ben will be setting up up there with groups of students, kind of filtering in and out. So the plan is the height of the meteor shower is predicted to start at 11 p.m. And then go for about an hour. And then, the kids are supposed to hustle down and they will start sleeping if they want to sleep, or they can stay up and, the movies will be playing. PG Disney movies will be playing all night in the theater. And they can hang out there. So at 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock, kind of all of the kids. So at 6 o'clock, the doors are unlocked. The kids are let in. Your resource officer, what is his name? Bob Ryan is kind of watching the kids go in. And in a small group of the teachers and the parents, Bob says that he will come back and kind of check and look in every about 2 hours to make sure everything's okay. There aren't any problems or anything like that. You do have his number to call if there's a problem on your cell phone.
Out of curiosity, so you said there are about 50 kids. Is there any kids that are quote unquote the potential, like the troublemakers, the ones that are most likely to be up to no good, if anybody was to be up to no good at all?
Yeah, there's a couple of those kids who obviously their parents kind of made them come. Kind of a group of you basically have a mix of all of your kids. You have like the jock group, some stoner kids, some bad kids who you're kind of you're surprised they showed up. Obviously, it's a situation where the parents wanted them out of the home. There's probably like 3 of those kids that are just kind of hanging out together in a corner, probably planning on sneaking off and drinking later if they can get away from sight lines and stuff like that. Just like the stoner kids are probably planning on sneaking off and smoking. And then there's jocks and some science kids. A lot of the science kids you assume will probably be up actually watching the meteorite show.
I mean, it's a once in
it's a mixed bag
experience.
It's a mixed bag of students. So
sure. Well, I mean, if I guess I would say is that if my character is, I'm going to say that Mr. Bronson is I mean, he wants everyone to have a safe evening, because I know that these things can get a little out of hand if you're not really that careful. So depending on where those troublemakers end up in terms of the chaperone, I may deem it necessary as kind of the veteran teacher here to share my thoughts on whether or not they should be given extra attention or keep an eye on those 3. They we don't want any trouble kind of thing. Because I'm that grousy old guy, I guess. But
The three kind of troublemaker kids, the leather jacketed kids, potentially with the multicolored hair, are Jason Walker, Kevin Brewster, and John Stark. And like I said, they pretty much stay away from all of the other kids, sticking to their own corner. You know, they may be bullies. Some of them, I mean, one of them's probably kind of a bully.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that might very well be why they're here, is to bully other kids. It's hard to say.
Might be, but we'll keep the discipline in place. You know, we'll make sure that nobody feels weird about coming to the meteorite shower,
or everybody feels weird about coming to the meteorite shower.
One of the two.
And dance and charity dance.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. So there is a DJ, but it's one of the students. It's one of the kids is offered to DJ the thing for free. So enjoy that experience. So yeah, it's 6 o'clock. The kids are all ushered in. They all have some have sleeping bag gear and stuff like that. Their own personal toiletries and stuff like that. And they come in, and kind of the music starts, and it's that awkward teenage kid party start.
Sure.
So what does for the first hour, kind of what does Bill do?
Well, I think since Mr. Collins seems to probably be running the the meteorite process, he's getting everything set up, he's getting the kids ready for it and everything along those lines. I'm going to spend my time just kind of checking in with the other teachers and the parent chaperones and everything, just to make sure that because I feel like what's probably going to happen is everyone's going to the chaperones are going to kind of congregate in their areas when they're the largest group of them, but some of the chaperones are going to kind of go off as needed to go into other classrooms. One chaperone's probably gonna have to run the projector or whatever it is. And I think I'm just gonna check in with them and just kind of obviously as the veteran teacher here, I'm going to make sure everything is good, make sure that they have everything they need. If they need water or anything like that, go get them some water and all that. But after I'm done checking in with them, I think I'm gonna go up to the meteorite observation and kind of see how things are going on the roof. And since this is probably the most likely place that they'll have the science kids, I want to go encourage those science kids to go be sciencey. So
okay,
I'll help Mr. Collins, as long as it's not overwhelming for the other chaperones downstairs.
Yeah, so basically what's kind of decided as you guys all kind of talk about it, and of course Mr. Collins isn't there because you're right, he is upstairs setting up the observation stations, and he has a couple kids helping, and he's kind of giving them directions on what they need to do, everything like that. But so you guys have a short conversation. Kind of the plan is one of the chaperones, let's say Becca, is going to hang out and kind of help out in the theater. She's going to watch the kids in the theater, reset the movies as it happens. Charlie and Helen are going to kind of walk the hallways. They're going to kind of go around the classroom areas because the kids aren't technically supposed to be in the classrooms. So that's why they're supposed to be locked. So they'll be kind of wandering around, making sure kids are staying out of the hallways, or if there are kids in the hallways not doing anything, just make sure they're aware where they are.
Okay.
And then Mr. Collins is upstairs, and then there's you, who is doing whatever you feel you need to do.
Yeah, I'm kind of supervising this whole thing, because obviously I've done similar things to this in the past, and so it's not my first rodeo. But I think Mr. Collins probably needs the most help getting everything set up, because I don't want them to have any kind of problems trying to watch the meteor shower, because that would just be a sad tragedy to spend the night here and then not even be able to see anything.
Yeah, and so they do kind of expect you to periodically come back down and check on the atrium. Basically, you and the two chaperones that are watching the hallways, you're kind of expected to walk through the atrium and make sure that the dance is going okay. It will be quite a bit by Becca, who's going to be hanging out in the theater in there. So that's kind of the plan. So you go up to the roof. Mr. Collins, the other science teacher, he's kind of an old hand. He started a little bit after you, a couple years after you, so he's a couple years younger, but he's very enthusiastic about science. You have noticed over the last few weeks that he has been acting a little strange, but you know, science teachers sometimes do. And he's very excitedly kind of wandering around, showing the kids how to set the telescopes up to look at the sky, and it's going to be starting soon. Yeah, so he's setting up all the equipment. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I make it known that I'm not just like some dude watching him like set up equipment and all that stuff. I ask him if there's anything I can help with, and if not, I'll either help set up the, kind of go over and kind of observe the kids doing their work and everything like that. One of Mr. Bronson's key things that he likes to do is he likes to make sure that these kids have practical skills, and setting up telescopes, getting everything, maintaining equipment and everything like that is a very practical skill. So he takes a keen interest in making sure that the kids are doing it right. And so yeah, he probably knows these sciencey kids by name because they probably do well in his class.
and you can make up some of those names. There's about 10 of them that are up there right now helping set up the if there's any ones that stand out, you can make them up, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, okay.
50 kids was way too many for me to make up all of them.
Joe, John, Jeff.
3 Johns. There's actually just 3 Johns.
I hear Mike's a common name. There are 15 Mikes and 10 Michelles.
Jessicas. There's some Jessicas in there. So they're kind of all running around, and Mr. Collins is basically, when you speak to him, he says, this is going to be a very significant event. I'm really, really looking forward to this meteor shower. I'm glad that everybody got together and let us do this observation. He seems way more excited than he normally comes across. Even kind of fit to like Flights of Fantasy, as he's talking about the sky and the stars, waxing a little poetic to the kids, even as he helps them set up so
even though my main focus is obviously in chemistry and everything like that, was there anything about this meteor shower that was significant or special? Like, it only happens once in a millennia, or
it is, because it's kind of a surprise. Like, it wasn't it was recently discovered that this was going to happen. It wasn't like predicted, so it's kind of an event that people weren't expecting, and it's new, so people were surprised it's going to happen. So Mr. Collins has set this up within the last week, and this meteor shower is supposed to be the crescendo of smaller meteor showers that have actually been happening all week long.
Okay.
This is supposed to be like the big, they're saying it's going to be like a big light show as the meteors fall at midnight or at 11, start at 11 tonight. And it's going to go for quite a while. It's going to go for like an hour, which isn't common either for something like this. So yeah, it's been a discovery of this happening.
Sure. Well, as like I said, I keep somewhat interested in adjacent sciences and everything like that. Since Mr. Collins is really excited about this, I'm going to kind of hype up his enthusiasm, kind of sharing what knowledge I've learned about it to kind of keep him talking about it, so that the kids can hopefully learn more about the meteor, because I'm sure he's just a fountain of information about whatever this phenomenon is and everything like that. So they're like, finally, Mr. Collins, we get it. Meteor shower, bright lights, whatever. Just kind of keep him happy, because it sounds like it's a pretty significant event for him. Once I'm done with the setup and everything like that, I'm going to kind of supervise and make sure that everything is going well up here. And then once I feel confident that the kids have set up their telescopes and the observation deck is ready for the evening, I'm going to head back down to the atrium or the gym. Is it the atrium or gymnasium?
It's the atrium or auditorium type area.
Yeah. Okay. Then
the gym is actually locked off. Those doors are all locked.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I head to the auditorium area to kind of go check in on everything working down there.
There's the telescopes are set up. There's four different stations. There's books to take notes. They even have some like they have some camera equipment to try and catch both images and sounds from the meteorite shower, if there are any. It's set up like a real like science thing. You think that Mr. Collins must have spent, like, this isn't school. A lot of these isn't school equipment. Some of this is obviously private equipment, and you're kind of surprised that he like spared no expense to make sure that this was going to be a thing that went very well.
That's fine.
So yeah, the only strange thing that you do notice is he does kind of wander back into the greenhouse and checks on some things in the greenhouse just to make sure, and then he wanders back out. So that's a little strange. The only other strange thing is that he will trail off occasionally. His sentences will trail off, and he'll just basically stare at where the meteorite is supposed to happen in the sky. But then he'll finish his sentence just a few seconds later. So there is a little bit of odd behaviors that Mr. Collins is exhibiting. And you just hope, but he seems super excited about it, and it might just be because of the event and its peculiarity in an astronomical sense.
That's fine. I mean, I feel like he's been so excited and he's been doing so much setup. I mean, it's easy to lose your train of thought. And as for what he's setting up in the greenhouse, can just be plugins. Moving on.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you go back down to the atrium.
Yep. And I have for me, rather than having one big bag of combos, I have like little tiny bags of combos. I just have like one in my pocket that I can kind of pull out.
Oh, the efficiency expert.
Yeah. The pop a couple of those tasty pretzels in my mouth as I'm going down and checking on the auditorium and all the things that are down there. I'm sure there are like real snacks that have been provided.
Yeah, there's actually a food table. There's a table with like sandwiches and like Jimmy John sandwiches and some snack chips and stuff like that. And they're basically letting everybody help themselves. There's coolers of water and soda.
This episode is not sponsored by Jimmy John's, just saying.
Well, that was the first sandwich place that I could think of.
I never even thought about that, but that would be kind of weird product placement.
It would be a weird product placement. Yeah.
We're doing a World of Darkness game. We're getting product placement. Moving on. No, I just kind of pop a few combos. It's my favorite salty treat, and it allows me to keep
it's what you live off of, basically. It's what Bill lives off of. It's combos.
Sometimes as his taste
we aren't sponsored by combos either, for the record.
No. Whatever. Moving on. So basically, I'll go check out, make sure everything is going well. I'm going to check on the theater. I'm kind of doing that like hovering thing before I naturally gravitate to the other chaperones and just initiate small talk and everything along those lines. And so at this point, I doubt it's anything has gone awry, since it's too early in the evening for the troublemakers to really have gotten into too much trouble, right?
Yeah, correct.
Or am I observing them basically with a flask in the corner?
No, they're a lot more subtle than that.
Okay.
You expect to see that later, maybe potentially. But there's some kids that finally started dancing to the DJ's what you loosely call music. They're playing a Disney movie in the theater. There's some kids that are already gathered in the theater and they're just watching TV. They're not watching the Never Ending Story because that's a horribly traumatic event for all kids. And then some kids are like at the food table and some are just hanging out. It's just starting, so you're like maybe an hour and a half in. So everything has reached that like kind of calm build to when kids are more comfortable and wandering around and stuff like that.
Yeah, everyone's still loosening up. That's fine. Sweet. Well, I guess I go watch a little bit of a Disney movie just to catch up on it. Which one?
What Disney movie are they watching?
Probably at this point. What year is it? Do we have a year, or does that matter? It's current year.
The year that they would do this sort of thing in a school. Sure. Yes, it's modern. It's today. Go ahead and.
We could either have Frozen playing in the background, or we could have, I don't know, Peter Pan.
Frozen. It is.
Frozen. It is. And then we can get a really easy copyright strike if we started singing something about letting it go.
I wouldn't know what to sing. But yeah, so Frozen's playing in the auditorium. Some of the kids are raptly watching the movies. Others are in there basically, you hear kids talking and other kids telling them shut up, they're trying to watch a movie, that sort of thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, help keep an eye on that because right now, you said that Becca was in there, right?
Mm-hmm. Becca's in there. She's kind of keeping an eye. She mostly hovers at the door and then hovers so she can see both in and out of the theater. And then if there's a movie change, she can go change the movie in the back.
Sure. Okay. Well, then I'm going to kind of keep up, and if she wants to, I'll do a little bit of small talk with her. Yeah, how about these movies these days? Those kind of things.
She asks how how it's going on the roof because her son is one of the studious science kids.
Okay.
Brian is up there, and she's
Okay.
kind of asking you like, how's it look up there? Does it seem like it's going well?
Sure. But and I give her the update. I mean, if she's interested, I explain as much as I can of what Ben told us and why the thing is interesting and it's really awesome that we're doing this, and kind of hype it up because obviously as a parent she's got to know why her kids should go to this school, and as a teacher I got to kind of lead by example that we're giving them a good solid education. So I take it firstly from that perspective, but then if she loses interest I switch over to some small talk and
she starts asking questions like, well, is Brian is he talking to the other kids? Is he like socializing? Because he has problems with that.
Well, he's still a little bit shy, let's say, and I kind of take that route, kind of navigating the the hard thing where you have an overprotective parent trying to understand what's happening with their child without necessarily cheating the child out of some privacy in the school. Kind of speak in generalities. They've made some friends or limited friends or whatever, that kind of thing.
Yep, he's talking to the other science kids.
Yep, and that's fine. I mean, it's a good crowd to be in. So
yeah, well, she thinks she's really appreciative of you letting her know and everything, because one of the reasons that she signed him up for this was he's really excited about the meteor storm, but also it's good for him to socialize with kids that have similar interests because he struggles with that sort of thing. He can't just play video games all the time.
Yeah, that's true. What did that Fort game or something like that, whatever that is.
Fort game. Fort game. Yeah, Fort game. She nods her head and you guys talk for a little while. And then a short time later, it's starting to get dark outside. So a short time later, you see the flashlight of the resource officer out of the beginning, and he just kind of comes to the door and like looks in, and kind of shines the flashlight towards you to see if everything's okay.
Yeah. I give him the cursory like thumbs up. He doesn't need to come in here unless he wants to, but I give him the signal that everything is going as well as it can.
Okay. He nods and you can tell he walks around. Basically what he does is he walks around the school. You guys did talk about this before. He'll basically do a lap around the school, make sure no one's trying to get in or no one's trying to get out or anything like that. Just to kind of make sure everything's safe. And
for my own personal edification, he's doing this first check-in about 8 p.m., right? Like,
correct. It's about every 2 hours, he said.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to make sure because obviously as a person kind of in charge of this thing,
you are the tenure teacher.
The tenured. I'm just making sure he's following his obligations and that I can expect him. And I kind of set an alarm for 10 p.m. just to kind of remind me to be on the lookout for him.
Okay. So yeah, he does his check-in, he does his walk around, and you kind of proceed with what you're doing. And before you know it, the alarm rings for 10 p.m.
Oh,
so where are you hanging out at 10 p.m. when you down in the auditorium or you upstairs?
Yeah, I kind of come in, and at that point I'm kind of thinking that the troublemakers, Watker, Brewster, and Stark are probably going to be starting to think about their shenanigans a little bit. So I'm keeping a closer eye on them. Also want to check in with Mr. Ryan, the Officer Ryan, just to make sure that I'm actually going to talk with him in the second one to see if he's noticed anything. Everything is good. I don't expect any trouble. I mean, it is a meteorite fundraising party, but just to make sure that everything's going well. And then at about 10:45, my plan is to go up and look at the meteorites and all that stuff.
Okay. So yeah, the three troublemaker kids are There's a staircase kind of going up to the second level that most of the students use, and they're kind of tucked in behind the staircase. So they're kind of hidden. But you kind of walk over there and give them a cursory glance. You don't see that they're doing anything other than like talking to each other right now. They may have like a card game that they're playing, and you don't know if they're gambling or something like that, but they're definitely doing something to that effect.
Probably
Which is
just Yu-Gi-Oh or something.
Which is yeah. Which is mostly like harmless for these three kids. So to keep an eye on them, that they'll probably be doing something later. But
okay. Well, I mean, no need to invite trouble. I mean, if they're not doing anything troubling, then let them be.
Okay. And then you go talk to Officer Ryan, and of course you have to talk kind of through the door to Officer Ryan because Mr. Collins still has the keys to the doors. So Officer Ryan says, yeah, there's it's kind of crazy out tonight. There's a lot of people having meteorite parties out. So I'm going to be here on time, but if I'm delayed, I'll probably be here just a few minutes late if something happens. But I'll definitely be keeping an eye out coming back to the school like planned. Okay. How's everything going in there?
Thumbs up. I let him know it's all going good. I give him a quick rundown of the things that have happened. Pretty much nothing. It's just movies, dancing, and kids on the roof getting ready for a meteor shower. It should be pretty harmless. I wouldn't. And if he's late, I tell him not to worry so much. We've got enough chaperones in here that we should be fine. Should be fine.
Okay, it should be fine. Famous last words. I don't think any teacher that I ever had when I was a kid would have said that. But anyways, so and then at 10:45, you said you're going to go up and kind of you want to observe the meteor shower.
So basically go up there and experience the meteor shower with the kids. So as long as the parents and the other volunteers are in their places where they should, because as you said, it goes an hour, and I feel like people will probably cycle in and out. Some of the other kids that may not be interested will probably still go up and check it out, kind of thing. So I'm gonna go up there first, hang out, try to help Mr. Collins with a possible sudden influx of extra kids that are going to come and try to maybe look at the meteor shower and all that stuff, and see what happens.
Yeah. So about 10:45, you start up there, and yeah, other kids have started to go up there. You do notice that the three Walker, Brewster, and Stark are also headed up there. They kind of make a big show of going up there with the rest of the kids. There's quite a few people. One of the things that you do find a little bit concerning is the teacher and the other chaperone, Charles and Helen. You really haven't seen them since they were walking around. They were supposed to go and 1 second.
Hi, Rex.
Yep, it's hello Rex. Yep, it's I've been on my shelf for a long time and I wanted to try it, so hopefully it'll be true enough to the game. You haven't really seen them. They haven't really been checking into the auditorium. They did for the first couple hours. No, you're fine. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we actually take comments as we play. We're not so serious that we're like
we're used to playing in person where there's a lot of crosstalk and people making jokes, so it's good. You haven't really noticed them in the last few hours. They've kind of tapered off. They really haven't been coming to the auditorium. You haven't really seen them, and you haven't had time to really go look in the classrooms or anything, so that's a little bit concerning. But you're really kind of focused on going up to, I think you're probably really kind of focused on going up to the roof, since you especially did see the troublemakers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I obviously can't keep eyes on everybody. It is disconcerting to have them go off, and Helen and Charlie, like I'm not aware of any, like, they don't have a relationship outside of school that I'm aware of. Like, no.
Well, you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
because they could be the troublemakers for all I know.
Well, yeah, they could be. You're correct. They could be.
So, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I mean, a little bit of a dereliction on their part, but it's a meteor power party. It's probably fine.
Okay. So yeah, you go up, and you're kind of milling about with the other kids. There's probably about 20 kids up there with the
Mhm.
3 troublemakers are hanging out. Um,
Okay.
you're up there for about 10 minutes, and you can see kind of the aurora start, kind of off in the sky.
Hmm.
Just it starts slow and it looks small, but it's really intense, bright colors as it starts. And right about as everybody's kind of distracted, um, you notice that the 3 troublemakers are gone. They're not up there with everybody else.
Mm.
Um, you think you probably saw them sneak out.
Ah. Well, I mean, how much trouble could they really get into? Well, priority is these other kids that want to be here and learn. I'll have a word with them later when I find them, because I will find them one way or the
Okay.
other.
So about 5 minutes after, so about 5 more minutes pass. The meteor shower is starting in earnest. Scintillating colors coming from the sky. It's kind of strange because they're like purples and reds and blues and colors that you don't feel familiar with. They make you feel strange, like they're colors that you've never seen before. And just as that starts to happen, another kid runs up and says, Mr. Bronson, that's your last name, right?
Mhm.
Get that right? Mr. Bronson, you need to come down to the second floor. There's a fight.
Oh, okay. Well, I, I, being a man of action, I obviously have the kid lead the way. Um, I'm maybe a little winded by the time I get there, but that's okay. Um, I hate school. Ugh.
Yeah,
So,
so as you come downstairs, they lead you to a corner, kind of the middle hallway on the second floor, and
mhm,
sure enough, it's the two, the leader is Jason Walker, but like Kevin and John are like watching him just basically squared off with this other student, um, a jock kid, who is pretty much like they're basically actually just fighting. They're not like one kid isn't just beating the snot out of the other, but it's like a big scuffle,
okay.
where they're throwing punches and rolling around on the ground, and like the 2 other ones are like yelling, you know.
Hmm,
And you kind of get the plan as they're yelling. You kind of get the idea that this may have been something that they planned at the beginning of the night, is jumping this kid,
hmm.
for one reason or another. So yeah, what do you do?
Okay. Well, one of my top priorities is ensuring student safety. So, seeing that this is happening, this is unacceptable. Using my loud, booming voice to kind of call down the hallway, "Hey, knock that off!" As I kind of rush to go. Obviously avoiding any punches and anything like that, but try to separate the two and get the other kids going. And as I'm doing this, I'm telling. I told the kid that came and got me to go down and try to find one of the other chaperones downstairs, maybe Charlie, um, or maybe Charlie or one of the other ones there.
Okay.
But basically, I can't wait for them. I have to literally
Right.
get in there and try to separate them out.
Yeah, the kid, he's a freshman and he doesn't really know, you really don't know his name. He's pretty new.
Mhm.
He like darts off as you tell him to. And you hear the other 2 kids, the 2 lackeys, start to yell threats at that kid, as he runs away, like, narcs, uh,
Whatever.
snitch, all that stuff.
Sure.
But after a bit they quiet down and you do manage to separate the 2 of them. Um, as they're panting and like bloody nose, and one of them's got like a swollen eye, but the one obviously handled himself fairly okay. But yeah, what do you do with these 4 unruly kids?
Well, I give it a moment to, like separate them out. I put the 2 kids that are just kind of egging on the fight over on one side. I put the other kid over on the other side, and I put the kid that got jumped kind of on the opposite side, just so that there's some distance and space. One of the things I do have is I do have a first aid skill, so I assume that I'm at least somewhat competent at being able to check out these types of things. Um,
Hmm.
and so I'm going to do a little bit of triage to see if there's, because even though it's a small fight, I don't want there to be like a broken nose or anything like that that needs more treatment right away. So I do a quick triage assessment and see who possibly, might be more injured of the two fighters. And then, of course, once I do that, I do have a first aid kit back where where all my stuff is, wherever everything is, so I can go grab that real quick. Or have them come with me so it'd probably be better to have them come with me so I can do first aid on
them. So the jock kid's name is Chet Johnson, because that's a cool jock kid name. His nose is probably broke, it's bleeding. But
Jason
is his eye is pretty messed up. It's blackening pretty quickly. So they're both kind of equal in injuries. Like, Chet will probably need his nose set at some point. He'll probably have a pair of black eyes, but John is definitely going to have, or Jason's definitely going to have. I mean, he probably needs to be checked out at some point to see if there's any damage to his eye socket from the punch. It doesn't seem like anything's broken, but it's hard to say with how quickly it's swelling. Like, his eye is starting to close.
Sure. Okay. Well, then let's go down to the first floor bathroom. I'm going to tell those other two kids to rejoin the party at the auditorium. I'm not going to threaten them with any kind of disciplinary action, but I may suggest that if they continue to cause trouble, this will be much more trouble for them than they want it to be. I'll go get my first aid kit and then go down to the bathroom, not in the auditorium area, but the one that's off to the side, to not, draw a lot of attention to this.
Okay.
And then as we get them in there and separate them, I kind of try to interrogate them a little bit to be like, so, hey guys, what happened here? Like, why are we throwing punches?
They're both pretty hesitant to tell you any details, probably because it involves potentially one of them selling something to the other one that he probably shouldn't have done. And one of them shorting him money seems to be what you glean from the interrogation. Is as they talk around it and refuse to talk, you do glean that that's probably what it's about. They got in a fight over it.
Okay.
So they kind of yell at each other here and there as you're checking them out, but they're not going to do anything with you around. So
yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's fair reason to fight. Never good to be cheating somebody else out of money or product. I mean, there's two sides to that equation, right? You can't cheat the other side. So after I get them patched up as much as possible, are we since we're in the era of lockdown sleep-ins, or do we have cell phones? Is that
everybody has cell phones? We decided it's modern, right? Frozen.
So
there's cell phones.
I'm going to look up and see if I have the resource officer's number, and I'm going to see if I can't give him a call, so he can come and hopefully bring someone from like either the fire department or an EMT to check out this kid's eye so that nothing bad happens.
Okay. So it's been probably about say 20 minutes since you kind of calmed him down, broke up the fight and everything, and checked him out as thoroughly as you could. And then we'll say it's about 11:30. We'll say it's about halfway into the meteor shower. So as you check your phone,
kids because of that.
yeah, I bet you are. You would be. So as you check your phone, though, you do notice that it's acting weird. Like, there's no signal on your phone. As you look at it, and it's not like there's just no signal. It's like the screen is flickering. It seems like and you'd swear for just a second as the screen flickers, you see kind of that same color, those weird out of place colors flick across the face of your phone as you're trying to like dial before it becomes like the normal face of your phone again.
Okay. Well, I hate to say it, but all those people trying to call and sell me landlines are freaking right about something. How terrible. With my phone not working, I will try to make my way. I'll take these two with me, and I'm like, we got to get to this. We got to get you checked out. I expressed to Jason, I'm like, you don't realize, but this injury is probably going to be a lot worse than you think it is. We really need to get somebody to check this out. So we're gonna go and is there a phone somewhere that's not locked behind the door? Because like the office is locked, wouldn't it be?
Yep, the office is locked. Yep.
Hmm. Well, we'll have to head up to Mr. Collins and get the keys from him because it's just I can't just be like, oh well, no phone, better
Well,
just let you
go sit
believe.
down. Yep, go sit down.
So I tell them that they have to follow me up, but they have to stay to the side. I don't want them to make a scene for the kids up there. And we'll go up to the top floor and I'll go talk with Mr. Collins about getting the keys from him.
Okay. So you walk up to the top floor,
Hmm.
and the door to so the way that the stairs go up,
Hmm.
and then it opens into there's a door and it opens into a storage room, and
Hmm.
then you exit the storage room to go out to the greenhouse and everything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But as you come out as you get to the door,
Mhm.
to the roof, it's locked.
Okay. Um, do I hear anything outside? Like I
If you put your ear to the door, and you look kind of closely, you do hear a strange like. You assume it's probably from the radio equipment that he had set up for some reason. It's this weird, like humming, screeching noise, dissonant tones that are kind of hard for you to recognize. And also, the longer you stand at the door, the longer you would swear that light is spilling through the cracks of the door. Because the kids are too kind of in front of you and separated, you can see it start reflecting on them. But it's definitely starting to get like it's about say 35 minutes into the meteorite shower.
Mhm.
And the longer that you stand there in the next few minutes, like it gets brighter and shines on them more, but the light is definitely spilling through the cracks in the door. And not as much spilling as it's not spilling as in like light normally does, but it actually seems more like I don't know the way that you feel about it when you see it is it's more like it's oozing through the cracks of the door,
Hmm.
um, like wisps of smoke or water running down the stairs and over the two in front of you. Um, and it gets brighter the longer you wait. Like it gets more and more obvious the longer you wait, as
Hmm.
if the light is actually looking for you through the cracks of the door. It's a weird feeling that you're having, but
Okay.
that's kind of how you feel about it. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you make a willpower test for me, because this is so strange, combined with the other stuff.
Ooh, a
Which
willpower test.
so what you want to do is you want to roll 1d10
Mhm.
plus your willpower stat.
Which is one of my better stats. There's not a lot of variety in my stats. I don't know if you saw that.
Well, no, because there wasn't very many points.
Yeah, but just a second. I for some reason didn't think I would be rolling dice, but obviously get my dice roller up. And so anybody that has first time here, we don't have like a fancy setup or anything like that. So I just roll in a Discord dice roller so he can see my rolls. But for the other people that are like, well, where did he roll? That's where I roll. So
Yeah,
just
and
FYI.
we'll tell you what the results are.
Yeah. So and we roll terribly, so don't mind us. So it's 1d10 you said plus my willpower?
1d10 plus your willpower.
3. Whoa! Nice.
What
I'm
did you
never going to
roll?
roll that good the rest of the game.
What did you roll?
I rolled a 10, so this is going to be the one time that I succeed in my
Oh,
willpower.
you
While
rolled
the
a 13.
rest of the time, I'm going to fail miserably and just be pissed at myself.
Yeah, you as odd as it is, you're a vet and you know science, you've seen weird things. So you
Yeah.
kind of steel yourself against this oddness. Um, Jason takes off and starts running away,
Okay.
and Chet just kind of freezes. And you can tell they're scared. Like the feeling
Hmm.
that kind of come over you from the sound as it gets louder and this light has definitely made them afraid.
Well, okay, that's fair. You know what? We're gonna go downstairs. We're gonna see if one of the other chaperones has a phone that's working. I don't really feel like they need to be up here. It's fine. So I take Chet and I kind of like grab him by the arm. Not like tug him, but I basically try to like lead him forcefully down the stairs away from it because a I mean, as a science teacher, I know that's not how light behaves. So it could be that they're doing something weird up there. Um, you know what? More power to Mr. Collins if he found an experiment that really illustrates the nature of the meteor shower to the students. But it just seemed a little odd. But since Chet seems like he's not comfortable with it, and obviously Jason's gone.
He's gone. He bolted. Like he ran like he was on fire. And Chet, when you grab him, like he doesn't move. Like you actually have to kind of shake him to get him to snap out of it.
Yeah, I basically, like I said, I'm going to forcefully lead him down and try to get him out of this.
And he's like, what the hell is going on up there, Mr. Bronson? That was really, really freaky.
Mr. Collins, he's probably got some weird light show that he's doing in concert with the meteor showers. So nothing to be worried about. I'm sure everything's just fine. It is a little strange that he locked us out. So it'd be nice to see it ourselves, wouldn't it? I'd force out a laugh.
Yeah, Chet looks pensive as he kind of like, he doesn't try to move away from your arm or like your grip or anything. He just basically kind of follows you.
Yeah, no, I like I said, I'm kind of a very calm and steely person. Panic doesn't, I keep calm under pressure. Panic doesn't help anybody kind of guy. So, as you could tell, stayed true to that pretty well.
You did. You very much stayed in character with your willpower.
Yep. I take him down, but I take him down quickly. Like I quickly go down to the auditorium to try to find a phone that's working because obviously I have a cell phone plan that sucks and they don't have reception right.
So when you get to the second level stairs, it's been about another 15 minutes. It's about a quarter to midnight, which means you know that the meteor shower will be ending. But what you hear about when you get to the stairs to go down to the auditorium is you hear a loud bang sound. Like something coming from the roof, like either like the doors like blew open or something happened on the roof.
Well, that can't be good. Since I'm not, because obviously Chet has probably heard the same thing and is a little bit worried, so he's probably going to
he doesn't seem like it. He just seems kind of to be following your directions.
Good. Well, then we're gonna pick up the pace and we're gonna go to the auditorium and we're gonna go see what's happening down there. And the offices have some keys in there, and I think it's time that I go get those keys out of the office.
Okay. So when you get down to the auditorium, the windows, the auditorium has basically windows all along the front of it. And basically as it reaches closer to midnight, you see that same light shining in the windows, but it's now lighter and it's starting to fade. But what you do notice is when you get into the auditorium, all the kids that were dancing and the music that was playing, like they're all just staring out the windows in unison.
Okay. Well, I was like, Chet, when you were looking at that light, did you feel anything? Like, because obviously it didn't affect my willpower. So I'm not.
Yeah, he says it's he's like, it's the weirdest thing. Like, I don't know, it's the weirdest. Yeah, and he kind of like babbles and mumbles. And again, like kind of as you're looking at him, it's weird, but you swear you see that like color, that light shining in his eyes as he kind of blinks a few times and it goes in and out. But he trails off and he kind of just stares at you.
Gas leak. That must be what it is. Gas leak. So I go to the offices. I don't even look for anybody else at this point. I just go to the office and is the office like, does it have one of those doors that has a glass window on it, or does it have
it has like the safety glass window with the lines in it. Okay. It's going to be pretty hard to break. Like the glass in the office is pretty hard to break.
Okay. Well, then and we're locked in because they locked the. Is this one of those things where we can open the door and leave leave the building, or how does
No,
that work?
against all fire hazards, they've locked all the doors. You are literally locked in. They didn't want any of the kids to leave,
Hmm.
so they did some shady stuff and locked the exit doors. The panic bars, they blocked those down too.
Nice. So this must be the 90s. No.
Yeah, man, probably.
So
I mean, late 2000s maybe.
Yeah, so I'm going to go. Is there like a fire extinguisher or something like that, or
Yeah, there's
anything?
fire extinguishers,
Okay.
fire alarm.
Well, then I'm going to go, and first of all, since everyone is acting so strangely, I'm going to take the fire extinguisher, and I don't know if I want to start a panic with the fire alarm because there's no way out, right?
Mhm.
Where would they run? I'm going to go and kind of like try to break the safety glass to the office, and in order to get in there to get in that extra set of keys, um, and also get a phone call out to see if there's any
Okay.
way to use a landline.
What did you do with Chet in the meantime? Did you take Chet with you, or did you just leave him? Or
Well, I took him to the offices, and then obviously when in the auditorium, I just left him as I went and got the whatever the fire extinguisher.
okay.
Because there is like a mass hallucination happening right now. It obviously is a gas leak.
So when you return, and it was only minutes. It was only took a minute or two to find the fire extinguisher, get it
Mhm.
unlocked, and pull it out. And you come back to the the office, and basically you've seen Chet has kind of wandered off, and he's not talking to them. You can tell he's standing next to another student,
Mhm.
and basically the minute you come up and like you're ready to you rear back with the fire extinguisher to smash the window in, and you see him kind of grab the other student by the shoulders, and you see that same sort of like light pour from his eyes and his mouth kind of like onto her face. And he basically starts bearing down on her and pushing her to the ground as this happens.
Huh. Yeah. Okay. I think we just eliminated gas leak. Uh, that I haven't seen before. I'm not gonna lie. So
Would you like to make another willpower test?
no.
Make
Do you
another
want me to,
willpower. We'll make
do you want
another
me to make
willpower
another
test.
willpower test?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. That one was less successful. I got a 3.
No, you succeeded. So do you you succeeded. So you can take whatever. Yeah, you don't have to, you don't get a flight, fight, or freeze. You just
Oh,
act.
okay.
You can
Yeah.
do whatever you
So
want. You don't fail. It's a 6. I lowered it. They said it's between 6 and 8 for your panic checks.
oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
lowered it to about 6. So
Sure. So
you've already
6.
seen the lights. So yeah, you made a 6. You're good.
Yep. Okay. So then, in this case, I think it's a. Hmm, hmm. So I have 2 options here. I can either go get Chet off that student, or I can go to the. Yep. I'm gonna deal with the immediate thing. I'm gonna go get Chet off that student.
Okay.
I'm gonna kind of like push him off the student because obviously I just saw light pour out of his face. I don't really want to like touch him more than I have to, but I also am not going to go over there with a fire extinguisher and bash him on the head. Like that's not how you protect your students. So I'm going to go push him hard to try to get him off the other student. And as I'm doing that, kind of like try to see how the other student reacted to this strange phenomenon.
Okay. So as you push Chet off of her, the light kind of spills out and wisps up in the air, but stops. And as you look at Chet, you can see that his eyes have kind of turned this like scintillating purplish color, like a strange color again that doesn't seem, well, it doesn't seem natural for a person's eye color, but it also kind of glows in the dim light of the auditorium. And you see her, and his face has changed a little bit over the last few minutes. He's grown more gaunt, like he's starving. And as you look at the other student, her eyes begin to take on the same tinge, and she immediately starts to convulse, making moaning noises, and then kind of tapering off to silence. With her eyes open, kind of staring up at the sky the entire time as they slowly begin to fill with that coruscating color.
Okay, well, obviously I didn't stop what was supposed to happen, so I think.
So as you're pondering this and watching her, you hear Becca kind of come out of the theater and she sees the other students, and she says, she sees you, and she says, "What's going on? Like, all of the kids seem to react like the kids in the theater seem to be fine, but why are all these kids, like, one of them trying to grab me a bit ago? What's going on?" And as she says that, she yells that to you. The students closest to her, closest to the doorway to the theater, basically turn to her, their eyes shining like flashlights, that purple color, and they start to shamble towards her.
I use this opportunity to say, get into the theater and lock the doors. I yell at, trying to cause a distraction for those kids to come at me instead, and have her obviously go back in there and hopefully lock both of the doors, or find a way to barricade the doors at least. And I throw the fire extinguisher at the two kids, not like trying to hit them, but obviously just try to distract them this direction, be the louder of the two. And I do have so I have a key to my classroom. So
you do?
Yep. So I'm gonna use this opportunity to go to class. Which class would be?
Pick one. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna say class 6A. Okay. You know, I have crossed the hall
First
battles
floor.
with class 5A, whatever. You know, chemistry versus English department. You know,
5A. Did I have 5A? Let's see what I said 5A was. 5A is actually one of the history teachers.
That's fine. Yeah, we still have some cross hall battles and all that stuff. So I go, and as I kind of pick up the pace, I run to my classroom.
So as you start to bolt, you see Becca she snaps to, and yeah, she closes the one door. But you do know that there's a second door on the other side of the theater. And so far in your last glance, they didn't start moving towards that door, which is probably a good sign. But you do notice that there are students that kind of shake their head and snap out of it. And immediately, if they snap out of it, one of the students closest to them grabs the other student, and Chet's process repeats. So in the few seconds that it happens really quick, and the couple seconds it takes you to like turn and run, you see there's several kids on the ground being attacked by other students. And then, yeah, you take off towards your classroom and fumble with the door lock.
Okay. So I'm going to open the door. What's the likelihood that I would have some sort of phone in the classroom? Is that a thing that's in schools?
You don't in this case. What you do notice is that the history room door is open, and it should have been locked. But yeah, you can get into your classroom.
Okay. So before I go into my classroom, I kind of peek around the door to see what's happening with the what's happening with the history room, just to see what's going on. So I kind of like back up against the wall, and I like peek around.
Yeah, the door is kind of ajar, and you don't see anything at first glance. After a minute of like just standing there, you hear some voices.
Are they talking, or are they like?
No, they're talking. They're like, shut up! Don't say anything. Just stay down. Well, you recognize the voice as Walker's voice, and his two cronies. They obviously ran into this room at some point.
Okay, well, I kind of like hurriedly whisper to them. I'm like, "Hey guys, come on, get over here. We can lock this other classroom." So I tell them to come to my classroom, as long as they look normal, because it seems like
yeah, they do. All three of them do look normal. One of them has grabbed like a military, like your history teacher had like a sword in like a case behind his thing. So one of them is like clumsily brandishing this probably prop sword. You know, because John told him something weird's going on upstairs, and he doesn't really. It's really scary, and he's not the type of kid that usually says that sort of stuff, especially to these two. So they're pretty freaked out.
Okay, so I tell them to come to my classroom, and I go and I open up my classroom, kind of check it to make sure that everything's fine in there, and then I rush them into the classroom, and I basically am looking for well, and I go fire up my computer, I guess, you know, see if I can send an email to somebody.
Same thing. You turn on the computer, and actually, it's gotten worse. Your computer coruscates with that color.
Okay.
And the screech starts to play through the speakers.
I turn it off. Like it's just
you press the button.
No, I guess I press the button, you know, try to hold it.
But the screen doesn't turn off. The screen continues with those strange colors.
Unplug.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Okay. Awkward. So I tell the kids, I'm like, just get in that corner, and I basically tell them to get into the corner like farthest from the door, so you know, basically opposite my desk, because obviously my computer is fucking possessed at this point. And so
and Jason says, Jason just grabs like one of the chairs and like smashes your computer, and he says, don't let the light touch you or look at you. There's something wrong with it.
That's pretty far-fetched. It's just light, he says.
He says, you unplug the computer.
Fair enough. Okay, so good news is I don't actually have a window to anywhere from my classroom, which is
correct.
Excellent.
There's no window outside.
Okay, so I close the door and I kind of lock it really quick, just with the thought process being I need a chance to think about what's going on with this, because these kids, I can at least lock them into the room, and that'll at least be a sort of a safe place for them to be. Is there a vent in here? Could they climb up into the vents if they needed to?
There's a Hollywood vent in here. Yes.
Perfect. Hollywood vent. Or at least a ceiling that they could, you know, bust.
Well, it's actually a drop ceiling, like in most schools. So yeah, if they actually push the tiles out, they could probably, if they're careful, they could probably move through the ceiling a little.
Okay. Well, I tell them that if they need, and I kind of show them how they can get to classroom 7A by basically going over through the tiles and everything like that. I'm like, if you notice anything trying to come in this room, try to get into that. If it's not me, and if it's me and I'm acting strange, then probably just do the same thing. Just go in that other room and hide out there until something more safe or sane shows up.
And Brewster says, maybe we need a code word.
Code word?
Well, so we know you're, you know, you.
Well, what do you want the code word to be? And don't make it complicated.
And he says, I don't know. You're the teacher. Pick a word.
Pineapple. Moving on. I tell them pineapple, and I'm like, okay, now go wait in this corner, and if you need to, like I said, you can do this, and in a pinch, you can get into the hallway doing the same thing. The glass going to the outside is not going to be easy to break, so if you need to get out of here, you're going to make a lot of noise. So think about that. And
so they actually go and start upturning desks and build kind of a barricade in the corner.
Okay.
And that's where they kind of huddle.
What does a chemistry teacher have? Ooh, can I make a flashbang?
Probably. Sure, I'll allow it.
Yeah, so I think I'd probably have at least some of the ingredients to make a primitive flashbang, just in case I need something. Do you want me to roll a demolitions or sciences?
Roll your you took demolitions. I cannot believe you. Roll your demolition is more for using the explosives. So it would be you want to use science plus your intelligence.
Okay, perfect. So D10, let's see. Roll D10. Ooh, nice. 12.
Oh, okay, so it's over an 8, So I would say you actually managed to get 3. You actually managed to make 3 flashbangs out of the rudimentary stuff that you have.
Okay. The teacher in me wants to show these kids how to make the flashbang so that they get interested in science, but the survivalist in me is telling me that, I need to do this quickly and I don't really have time to explain the steps.
And
So,
also, these are the kids that would probably be the worst ones to show how to do this for the record. So you think about it for a second, and you're like, probably not. These
okay.
are M80s in the toilet kids. They're probably not the kids that you want to show how to make a flashbang in the school.
Hey man, that's okay. I'm okay. So, okay. So I get my 3 flashbangs and I tell them that I'm going to lock the door. Like I said, pineapple. And I kind of like bolt out of there.
You hear Kevin, pineapple, 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 as you leave.
That's what he needs, man. We'll get some sort of zombie that's like pineapple. Is it safe or is it not safe? I'm confused. I'm getting mixed signals. So okay, so yeah, I make my way down the hallway, looking kind of back and forth just to see if there's any more of these strange, the behaviors of the kids being strange and all that stuff.
Yeah.
With the goal of getting to the auditorium.
So you did it pretty quick. It took you probably about 20 minutes to make the flashbangs.
Mhm.
20 to 30 minutes. So by the time you come back out of the classroom, you do see that at the far end of the classroom, there are kids wandering the hallway.
Okay.
They're kind of just wandering around aimlessly,
Mhm.
shuffling. But every time that you see them, like their eyes, that color, that color that you don't understand, that pink, purple, fuchsia color that shines stranger than anything you've ever seen, like
Okay.
shimmers in their eyes.
Mhm. Okay. Well, I think the goal is to avoid them. And so there's a couple different ways. Are they in that first hallway towards the auditorium? Can I go around by the bathrooms and then make my way over? Or
Yeah, you can.
okay. That's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of like quietly, move my way around. I have nice
Hey,
foothold over.
guess what quietly means?
Uh means
You get
a
a
demolition
you
roll.
get, yeah, yeah. That's what quietly means. You get to make a stealth roll.
Is stealth an actual skill that I didn't pick?
It is an actual skill you didn't pick, and I'm
Hmm.
glad you didn't pick it because you're a school teacher, for Christ's sakes.
People know how to be quiet.
So just roll. I'll let you pick. Do you want to roll your intelligence or dexterity? Are you
I'm gonna
being
roll.
smart? Are you being smart about quiet and being quiet, or are you like being
I'm gonna
quick?
be I'm gonna be smart about being quiet because I'm not a spry chicken anymore.
I thought so. Go ahead.
8. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I kind of like tiptoe around the corner and hope that I don't make any noise. I check my work. Do I see any shambling teenagers coming after me?
Nope, no shambling teenagers coming after you.
Okay. I have one of my flashbangs ready just in case you never like something unexpected happens. So however I need to do this. Is it? It's probably an easy primer, something really, really risky because obviously I have to
You
protect.
probably use matches, actually.
Mhm. Okay, so I'm gonna make my way around the bathrooms and see if I can't get a bead on the auditorium. Because once I figure out what's going on with the auditorium, it's back upstairs to the roof.
Yeah. So in the auditorium, yeah, just more. They're just kind of everyone in the auditorium right now. There's some kids that are still sleeping that appear to be sleeping and not drawing their attention for some reason. But the kids are all of the kids that you would say are infected are just basically like wandering around. Some of them have gone over to like they had like a little laser light show thing. Like some of them have gone over to that and are like just standing in the light, which has changed hue as they stand in it to kind of match like the light will come up in the regular view and it hits them and then it kind of almost like dust in the air turns into
Mhm.
that purple light as it shines almost through them.
Okay,
um
weird.
and they all are starting to look you can tell the longer that this goes on the more like disheveled and starving and waxy they start to look.
Okay. Well, quick question. Do I have a chance to get to a position where I can see the auditorium and see the theater to see if both of those doors got closed?
You can either go up to the second floor and look off. There's a like
Hmm. Like
a
a catwalk?
deck kind of thing you can look out into the auditorium from. Or you can just look, you can look straight down. That'll give you, you can see into the auditorium that way, but you can't see the theater doors. You'd have to
Mhm.
go up to the second floor and go over to the little overhang that's there.
Okay.
That looks out over there, and you're pretty confident that you're being sneaky enough to make it.
Okay. So I'm gonna try to do that, and see, just to double check. Obviously, safety being number one, to see if there's any way to make sure that they got themselves safe. But at the same time, if they're not safe, it's not like I have a lot I can do. Um, I wonder if they could. It feels like they probably wouldn't be able to barricade themselves on the roof, because I'm trying, because like my number one goal right now, other than the students' safety as best as I can manage, is to try to find a way to escape, or get help. And those are really challenging when the phones are attacking me, the emails are attacking me, my cell phone is attacking me. I don't like this. Um, so I'm gonna check on the door. Hope, fingers crossed, that they actually close both of the doors, and it's not just closed because it turned into like a burrito for the waxy looking children. And then after that, I'm gonna make my way up to the roof, because that's the only other escape I know of to get help.
Okay, so as you kind of look out over the
Because
overhang,
where would the officer be coming in? Like he would go to
the
the
main door
auditorium.
is downstairs. Yeah. Um,
Can I see that from
yep,
that
you can see it from
perch?
where you are. Yeah.
Okay.
But you're also exposed, like everything can see you from up there
Okay.
too.
I'm gonna be. I'll be quiet. I'm going to see, because right about now, I mean, it seems like since we were just at 11:45, we should be real close to
Mhm.
when the officer should check in.
Yep, it's just kind of a little bit after midnight, so yeah, the officer
Okay.
should be coming to the door.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna, if that's the case, if I see him, I'm gonna use that opportunity to light a flashbang to definitely see that something is distressed. Um,
How long do you wait?
he's well. If it's do I if I look at my watch says it's what, 12:05 or.
Yeah, it's 12:05.
Hmm.
And you do notice through the windows that it's dark outside. There isn't any of the light shining from the sky anymore. It does have a faint glow to kind of the sky, but most of it is gone. You can
Okay.
see the children milling about. It does look like both of the theater doors did get closed.
Mhm.
And you know there's no windows in there, so you're hopeful that everyone there is safe. You do see some of the kids are like scrabbling at the door and like trying to peek under the like the little gap at the door as if to
Mhm.
feed the light, but under the door.
Hmm. Okay. I can't worry about that. So I'll probably wait only about 5 minutes, like kind of get as low as I can to the ground, kind of keeping obviously a look at the direction to me, but also maintaining as much visibility on the door for the officer that I can.
Yeah, so you wait another 5 minutes and you don't see the resource officer show up.
Hmm. That's not promising. Uh, okay. Yep. Man of action. I'm gonna go to take a look, and as much as I dislike doing this and going to the original scene, I'm gonna go and take a look at the storage room on the second floor and see how it looks on the way to the roof.
Okay. You do okay, so as you start making your way up to the storage room, what you do notice is there are a few of the students that were wandering the hallways have
Mhm.
just kind of starting to go, they're actually going up and out to the roof themselves, kind of shambling and kind of ooze walking up to the roof itself. They do seem, again, their skin seems waxy, pallid, almost like it's melting at this point.
Hmm.
And so some of them have snuck up the stairs before you. They don't pay you any attention whatsoever. But you go up the stairs. The door was slammed open by something. The door that was previously barred.
Mhm.
Um, and pushed out. So it opened the other way. That's how they locked it. So it was pushed out. So the hinges were basically reversed on the one
Oh,
side
wow.
of the door. And then you do see flickering of that light, but it's nowhere near as strong on the roof.
Okay. So I guess, yeah, I'm gonna keep behind those kids walking up and just kind of try to trail them up. They're probably making enough noise, and unless I try to draw their attention, I'll be fine.
Yes. So you trail up. You first come into the storeroom.
Mhm.
The storeroom it seems fine. It's disheveled, like something happened, but it isn't like blown up or destroyed or anything. It's like
Mhm.
something like it would almost be like the wind pushed the door open, with enough force to blow it open like a hurricane. There's tools and stuff kind of spilled around on the floor. The second door to the roof is also open. And you do see more of that light spilling out onto the ground. It's like a glow. But as you look out, you see that the glow isn't coming from the sky, and it's coming from the greenhouse. Like inside the greenhouse, it's like there's a sphere of this purple coruscating color that you don't recognize. It's like a beating heart at the center of the greenhouse, and that's where all the color is coming from. And what you notice is one of the students that you were following, the two students that you're following, basically they climb up the stairs as best they can. They look frail and weak at this point.
Mhm.
And they wander out the door and they go through into the greenhouse, and you see their silhouette against that glowing light, and then it just seems to disappear or merge with the color.
Okay. Well, that isn't that good. Dum, 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 dum. So, since I'm in an area where there's probably I don't know what this thing is, but it's not good. I have 3 flashbangs. I have a storage room. The storage room doesn't happen to have a copious amount of gasoline, does it?
Actually, it does. This is where the generator is. There actually is gasoline there is a generator for the school. There is actually several canisters of gasoline in this storage room for the generator. There's also assorted tools like hammers and crowbars and things of that nature.
Well, it seems like whatever's happening up there is not good. So I'm going to go take a crowbar, and I'm going to take, kind of like put it through my sweater. I don't know. Put it through my belt loop. I don't know.
Okay. Whatever you want to do, man.
And then I'm going to see if I can't try to find 2 containers of gasoline that are good. And I'm going to see if how close I can get to the greenhouse on the top, because whatever this is, it's not natural. And I mean, it's taking these kids in one way or another. Right. So I'm going to see how close I can get to the greenhouse without alarming or disturbing something. And if I can get to the outside of it, I'm just going to basically break a window, toss in gas, and then throw
the
a
flashbang
in.
The greenhouse is made of plastic, so it's actually easier than that. Like it's like one of those plastic like greenhouse kind of builds.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tear it or whatever. But what you need to do before that is roll a stealth roll.
Okay, slosh.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
We've been rolling so well lately. Yeah, so basically you managed to get right up to the edge of the greenhouse. You can pour the gasoline on the plastic. You probably pour some of the gasoline in. What do you want to do?
Well, I mean, it's just a glowing sphere of light, right? Or is that what it seems like, or what is it?
That's what it seems like from the outside.
Yeah.
The plastic obscures it enough to where you can't really see anything, but it just feels like a glowing sphere of light, and it kind of thrums like a heartbeat. And it's laced. It's like a bright white light in the center, and then it like coruscates out in like tendrils of that alien purple color.
And just out of curiosity, do I see Mr. Collins anywhere?
Not on the roof. There's no one on.
There's no one on the roof.
That's not in the greenhouse that you know of.
Okay. Well, I think at this point I'm gonna poke a hole in basically the thing, trying to be as, because if it's just a plastic sheathing outside the greenhouse, I'm just gonna rip a hole, pour some of the gas on, like, in there, and basically start flooding it on the inside. Because I mean, pretty much the thing is that it's going to be a nice and deadly vapor trail that I'm trying to create back to a place of safety. Because unfortunately, all that vapor is going to fill up that greenhouse, right? And it's going to be super deadly to me if I just try to light a match right next to it.
Correct.
So I'm going to try to create a vapor trail that I can take back to the door, I guess, and hope that there aren't any students trying to make their way up here, and pour it in, kind of shuffle back to the door, find a way, and then I guess, because those flashbangs are fire, right? I mean, probably some.
Yeah, you can light. You can light it. It's probably magnesium and like matches, so you can definitely start a. You can start a. You can start a fire with it.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks like, unless is the door open to the greenhouse?
No. It's like a flap that's kind of, it's closed. Like they go through it and it's closed.
Okay.
I mean, you can look inside if you want.
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, I guess I have to, because I have to check to see if there's any students in there that are still alive, that are possibly sleeping, before I just light this thing on fire. Because I don't want the headline to be, as much as I'm really confused and scared about the situation, I don't want the headline to be teacher blows up.
Teacher hallucinates, blows up 47 students. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna at least look and see. I mean, if I'm hallucinating, how will I see these children anyways? But at least I'm gonna try to, like. Okay.
So you want to kind of move the flap and look in before you start the fire?
Yeah, just to make sure I don't have like a nest of children I'm burning to death.
Okay. So you're gonna have to make a willpower roll for this here in a moment. So what you see when you look in the greenhouse is you see a creature of melted flesh. You see Mr. Collins' jacket and his like glasses like melded into this mass of arms and legs that were once the students on the roof.
So trigger warning.
This is a body horror. Yeah, we should have said that at the beginning.
Yeah, we missed that. So trigger warning. I'll put
it in the notes, or I can say something from the video if you want. But and we can splice it in. But anyways, it's like a mass of arms and legs. Like it. There is a face sort of on this body-like structure. It has a pincer and like compound eyes, kind of like an insect. And what you see, the glow, is it looks like a piece of stone is fused to the back of this humpbacked creature that moves on arms, 6 arms crawling around in the greenhouse. And that heartbeat is like a stone or a piece of meteorite that pulses with that alien color fused to its back. But along its sides and its makeup, you can see the mixture of the other students has been combining with Mr. Collins, and it kind of moves through the greenhouse, waiting for more mass. As you know, and somehow that more of the students will be moving up towards this. The longer they're infected, the more they will be moving up to join this birthed creature.
Yep. Lighting it on fire. Hesitation? Not anymore. So,
all right.
So basically I've got, I kind of just, as I poured all that gas on the other side just to double check my work before I went, I'm like, okay, enough gas has probably filled the area. And I just toss in the flashbangs in the other container of gas while I'm still there, and just kind of like action movie jump away in hopes that it doesn't breathe gas and just took all my vapors or something.
Make your demolition roll. Let's see how well you set this place up. If you fail, it's going to be the funniest thing ever.
Plus, do I get to roll an attribute plus demolitions or?
Yeah, demolitions plus dexterity since you're throwing it. Let's do demolitions plus dexterity.
Okay, let me just make sure I get demolitions plus dexterity equals a +4. Okay, Daddy needs something other than a 1. Oh,
ooh,
perfect throw.
So, you critted on this technically. So roll d10 again.
So if you want to give a rundown for like combat.
Oh man, the crit rules on this game is insane. Like I don't totally understand them, so we're gonna do this as best as we can. So you're supposed to roll 10 again, and then -5. So you rolled a 10 again. So roll again.
Is this this is an exploding dice?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 10. So you got a 14 +5 for 19 +1. So you got a 20 basically with the way that I understand the rules work, which now I get to look at the damage success chart. So basically you perfectly set this up with your demolition. Let me look at the chart really quick and see how much extra damage you do.
Oh, there's a chart? Nice.
Yeah, there is. Like I said, it straddles that area between like new game and old game, so there's still like some charts and stuff.
Okay. So in this case, is this what was on the game mechanics page of what you sent me, where it's like a 17 to 20 is the 5th level?
I did put that. Yeah. So it's 5th level. How much extra damage does it says it does?
So combat, increase the damage rolled by 2 before applying the multiplier. I don't know what the multiplier is.
So here's the first thing you do. Roll d6 times 3d6. Roll 3d6. Or no, it's d6 times 3. Sorry.
Well, I'll just roll the d6 and
so that's an 18.
I'm never going to roll this good in my entire life ever again. Like,
no, you're doing a wonderful job on my game. Now on your chart there, what does it say the extra damage is for 1d20?
So
or 17 to 20?
17 to 20 is increase the damage rolled by 2 before applying the multiplier. So that would be at 8.
Yep. Times 3.
Times 3, 24. I mean, as far as gas explosions go, I think I might have just done the best I could do without going over.
Yeah, this thing. So what happens is the whole like greenhouse goes up. You hear that screech, this inhuman screech, kind of throw over the rooftop as you light the thing on fire. As it's flaming, it turns its head towards where you are, and starts running towards you. It's not quite dead yet.
Okay. Well, I wasn't expecting that.
It's pretty tough.
But panic helps no one is one of my core.
Oh yeah, you should probably roll that again. Roll your willpower again.
Damn it. Should have said something. 1d10 plus. Oh yeah. So basically, my character was just like I had seen this fireball conflagration, and I had seen the plastic blow out. I had like got up from doing my action movie jump, and the thing is still like coming at me, and I'm like,
yeah,
I wasn't prepared for that.
This melted amalgamation of flesh and faces and screaming and moving limbs, and that light, that alien light pulsing, now mixed with very, very mundane fire coruscating on its skin. You look at it, and for the first time in a long time, you feel that like kind of dread reach into your heart. Like you don't know what it is, you don't know why it's here, and you're for a moment brave. Mr. Bronson is terrified. What does he do? Does he fight, flight, or freeze?
He's such a how do I say it? I would say Mr. Bronson is one of those people that he's always so direct and so like I said, he never panics. And as you could tell, like he went through this like not panicking this entire time. But I think that just like that broke something in him to see this
He is
amalgamation
looking
of
at he is looking at the most horrible thing he's ever seen or going to see.
And so I think at that point, he just thinks, "Oh fuck," and he just freezes. Like he just doesn't know what to do.
All right. Well, that was the worst thing you could have done. Yeah. So he freezes. So yeah, it's going to attack you. Let's see. Yay! I get to roll some dice.
Yeah. Boo.
You can roll to. You do have an evasion skill. Yeah, it's just your dexterity. It's D10 plus your dexterity. Go ahead and roll that. Mr. Bronson was commando.
I
so
lured
yeah,
it into my trap.
Yeah, so it kind of snaps at you with those pincers and compound eyes, the light kind of spilling over your skin, and you manage to snap out of it, and you dodge out of the way. You manage to like slap it on the head and like move the pincer just far enough to where it doesn't hit you at all.
So I take another one of those flashbangs, and I basically like chuck it at its face and try to ninja style out of the situation. Now that I've kind of like regained my composure a little bit, I kind of throw it at its face, hoping to kind of like create a diversion, and I'm gonna book it down the stairs to a place where I can get into a position with my crowbar.
Okay.
Is I'm hoping to draw it into a trap.
Roll your demolition again. Into a trap? Question mark?
Yeah, into a trap. 12.
You have rolled amazingly well this game. So yeah,
I've never rolled this good in my life. I think it was just all the times that I've forever DM'd. I've been saving all my good rolls.
So yeah, your makeshift flashbang blows up in its face, and you see those compound eyes, those purple fuchsia alien compound eyes, kind of all flicker and go white. Not like the white of the light, but like the white of blindness for a second, as if it absorbs all the light, and you hear it screech and like reel back. And yeah, if you want to escape, you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna escape downstairs because obviously, you know, if I'm looking at this creature and I see that there's some giant weird meteorite stuck into it, I gotta attack it. I just got it. That's where I gotta go. I mean, I'll either attack it or die trying is really what it boils down to.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna basically flee down the storage, hoping I don't run into any more waxy children adding their mass to it, and set myself up in a position where I can basically have it try to pass. So maybe what I can do is I can kind of break into that classroom. I'll see how fast it's following me, I guess.
It's pretty fast. So it comes after you, and you see it you hear it hit the storage room, and then you hear it hit the door, and you hear it struggling to make it down the stairs. And as it does that, you still smell the stench of burning flesh, like it's still on fire. And so you see it kind of. So are you like watching where it comes down from the stair? It's going to come down from the stairs. Where are you located?
I'm trying to get out of the storage and hopefully, I noticed.
So you're out of the storage and you go down the stairs.
It was classroom 6B. Is the reason why that's an X because that door is open?
That door is locked.
Okay.
Or supposed to be locked.
Supposed to be locked. Okay. Then I might just continue running down the stairs and getting the hell out of here because I'm looking at these hallways and I basically either trap myself or, well, I guess what I could do is I'm going to try to head down the hallway towards the. Well, so what I'm going to do is zigzag. So let's go storage. Let's go run in front of classroom 6B and then check to see which direction it goes, because this way I at least have I can go down the stairs if I need to, unless it just bowls through the class. I guess that would suck.
So what happens is, you see it's kind of stretched down the hallway, like it's made its body something that can kind of fit down the thinner corridor. You see it's the legs have kind of all situated so it kind of circles it so it can move kind of like a worm through the hallway. And you see its head peek out, and you can smell that strong scent of burning flesh, and you hear it kind of make a cry, and then you see its head fall on the ground. Its body smoldering on fire. And as you do that, you see kind of the other infected, is what you would call them at this point, kind of all fall down as well. And that coruscating color, that color out of space, fades from their eyes.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is, I think it's playing possum. I'm going to go break out that meteorite and separate it from the mass. I'm going to make a phone call.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to, yep. Okay. So what do you do? What exactly do you do?
I basically try, come up and try to knock the back of it out, so to get it to separate from the mass of flesh, and hopefully maybe there's a way to reclaim the students.
No.
Okay.
You hear this wet tearing noise as you kind of T-ball the stone, which is about the size of a baseball. It tears loose of its back, and it kind of hits the wall and rolls on the floor. As you're looking at it, you can see the color inside the stone. It's radiated and still scintillating in the stone. Do you want to pick it up?
Hell no.
Well, you kind of do want to pick it up, but you don't at the same time. No, if that tells you anything.
Yeah, I think it tells me enough. I think it tells me I need to go downstairs and basically go and find the resource officer, who's late, by the way. That'll be in my report tomorrow.
You do see Mr. Well, we'll call him Ben now since he's mushy. You do see his jacket, and you do see the keys are kind of in the mass where his pocket once was. So you can get the keys if you want.
No, I got a crowbar.
Okay.
No, you're not going to get me with a jump scare.
Okay.
No, thanks. Okay. So I'm going to go down to the office, and I'm going to start making phone calls. I'm going to crack open the door with a crowbar, start making phone calls, and I'm going to get emergency services here ASAP. I'm also going to call the Army. I mean, do I know the Army's phone number? Is that something that exists?
You don't know the Army's phone number, but you do get in the office. And when you pick up the phone, all you hear is that emergency message that plays on all the phones and all the TVs when something horribly, horribly wrong has happened.
Okay. Is Frozen still playing, or they moved on?
They moved on. Actually, well, if you go over to the theater, there are about 15 kids still in there, and they're fine. Becca is still in there. And there is a movie playing, she left a movie on, and it's actually really loud because what she did is she played the movie and she's trying to drown out the sounds outside so not to scare the kids. So she's trying to protect them as best as you can. There's also chairs that have been landed in front of the door, and it takes you a few minutes to get them to open the door.
Okay. Well, I tell them that I'll be right back, and then I go get those 3 reprobates or whatever, the ones that are in my classroom, and I tell them pineapple. Before.
Okay, they let you in. When they hear pineapple, they let you in.
I have them follow me, and we'll go to the thing. And I guess it's the prologue, the epilogue. I guess at this point, the epilogue is us just watching Disney movies and hope for the eventual rest.
At what time did I say it was? At one second.
So it'd be about 12:30 almost now.
Yeah. Well, no, it's actually much later than that. The light kind of warped time as well.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually when 6 a.m. rolls around, it's probably about 4 or 5. And then when 6 a.m. rolls around, the military actually does show up for cleanup.
No, that can't be good.
Well,
This is when I turn into a conspiracy theorist.
We're just gonna end there, and you can kind of fill in what happens with the military.
They just suddenly got this weird little ball of meteorite.
One thing I will say is it's obviously that you're not infected because you don't glow. However, the color is also radioactive, so in a few years you might have some problems with that. So
that's what I want to hear. Is I have problems with radio. Oh gosh. Oh. Well, hopefully. Well, that was good. Honestly, I think if you measure a game by the number of successes you have, I felt like that game was very fun.
You did very good. You offset your mothership game with success.
Oh my. Yeah, it felt like it. And not to keep that as like an inside joke or anything like that, but we had a mothership game, and like it was pretty much like failure after failure after failure, whereas this is this didn't feel like failure after failure after failure after failure. So that was kind of nice to actually be successful at something.
Well, yeah, it wasn't failure moving the game forward. It was success moving the game forward. And because that Mr. Bronson could do some things that that wasn't, that was different. Because I kind of set the whole thing up, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Like, are they going to attack it? Or not, so I was kind of just going with that. So
yeah, I didn't know what to do with it, but I felt like it was kind of funny because I was like, because not to metagame too much, but there's just so many easy archetypes that you could bring to the table that could be fun. That also
100%. That was kind of what I wanted. Is this zombie sort of game is the type of game where you can do that. I don't know if I was going to run this again. This scenario, I would probably flesh things out a little more, but I might not run it in this system. I might run it in like Delta Green, because I think that system's a little bit better. This system the mechanics of the system work better than I thought. It's a lot less heavy-handed than I thought it would be. I did like the panic. It did have a panic mechanic, which I enjoyed.
Sure.
But anyways, for those of you, they called it out in chat, but it was inspired by Color Out of Space, the Lovecraft story, and also the Nick Cage movie. Which not really zombies in Color Out of Space, but there is the flesh melding. The mom and the son become a weird creature in Color Out of Space.
Ooh, yeah.
So
there's always a special place, because I think, what was it, Leviathan was the one?
Yes, that's a horrible. Yeah, that probably impacted my brain more than a lot of things when I was younger.
Yeah, well, I have to say, because there was a period of time, which, not to say that I had free reign, but I was much younger than I should have been when I watched Leviathan for the first time, and it was horrifying to see like the monster that was there, and I was like,
with the faces, the screaming faces on its back. That's kind of similar in Color Out of Space, but like the color is the I don't know, the concept of the color out of space tickles me every time I see the movie, like this alien color that changes everything it touches. And I thought it was a good area to use for zombies, because I didn't want them to be regular zombies either.
No, that was good.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's always a little bit tricky in like a duet type situation to try to create tension, because there's only one point of failure, and if I fail, then the thing ends. So it did. I think we got a good pace there, and we had a good story that we could tell. But I think that could have been a really challenging thing if you would have upped the number of players a bit.
It was fun.
I feel, I think you could have done more with the students and the waxiness and
definitely there was a lot more. There was a lot more. It is kind of a light based organism, I think Lovecraft was trying to describe radiation when he originally wrote it, because I don't think he really understood the science behind actual radiation. But anyways, it is a light based kind of creature in the show. And it just dawned on me one day, because they were going to be plants originally. Like originally, I was going to have them be plant creatures.
Okay.
We played a game recently where it was kind of a plant. The Mothership game had kind of a plant alien, so I was like, shit. I was like, I need to do something else. So the color out of space was what I chose, and I think it went well with the students. So yeah, thoughts,
Yeah.
feedback.
We'll probably do a thoughts. We'll do a thoughts episode this
Okay.
week. Just because I think that's a really fun way to just kind of digest and do a debrief for yourself. Because honestly, the system itself it got out of the way of the story, which I think is like, I thought the story was fun, and just being able to do things is kind of a refreshing thing, especially when you come from a very dice heavy, like the dice, are always telling you how the story's going to go. Oh, I want to, build a flashbang. Okay, I had to roll for that. Whereas, like some systems even peel it back farther, that there was really no risk of me building a flashbang.
Yeah, what I did is I decided, because if you were successful, you build a flashbang. If the more successes you got, I figured the more. That's why I gave you 3 flashbangs, is because you were really successful. So that's what I want to do. If you had failed, I probably would have said you still build a flashbang, but then it didn't work when you threw it.
Oh,
probably
no.
what I was gonna do.
That's fair. That's fair. I failed.
Which may be horrible as me as GM. People can just decide that, but it would have been pretty funny.
Well, especially I'd have seen the monster and been like,
oh,
run away kind of thing. Yeah, that would have been good. I liked it quite a bit. So that was, I guess, we think we have a couple people still in chat and all that. So if anybody has any questions, shout out to Rex here for having apparently carried these books. How old is this system? It's from like 2000s.
Right? Oh yeah, it's like from 2006. I think maybe it's pretty old.
So,
I've had it forever, and I wanted to try it. It's definitely been one of those. It's one of those inspirational books as much as like the rules book. I use it for inspiration when I want to think of like zombie stuff or stuff like that. So yeah, just like he said, it's got a variety of worlds. You can tell all sorts of horror stories in it. And it's I think it's just a real cool book. I consider it one of those books that like you should have on your shelf as like a reference when you want to tell a story, even if you don't use the mechanics from it.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I bought mine. I probably bought mine about the same time you bought yours, weirdly enough. But like the mechanics in the game, it's a unisystem, so it's universal. But I managed to keep the rules out of the way, and I think that's the way they're designed. It's probably not the most truthful to the unisystem dice rolling system. I kind of just did what I do, and which is make the game fun. But I think I used it well enough. But yeah, so thank you for tuning in.
Out of it. So I mean, really, that's I think number one thing is that, if you have fun, the system did its 100%. Job. The system gave you enough framework to do something. It did feel, like I said, I rolled a lot of success, but I also feel like the range of success it felt like it was easier to get a success. And I think that's because we made it a little easier because of a solo player.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that being the case, I think that's a different story, but I think
you did roll 10 almost every time you rolled the dice though, which is,
I can't even lie.
Which is a success in most circumstances.
I rolled a 10 until I rolled a 1. That's No, there was I was, like I said, a lot.
Well, yeah, and you rolled the 1 on your critical success.
Yeah. No, I rolled the 1 on the on that my willpower check.
Oh yeah, on your willpower check. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Which was good.
Yeah, and Rex, I agree too, because I think that it's kind of a weird, it's kind of complicated for me, because I think that there are some times where the rules create an interesting and unexpected story. But I think that sometimes when you have like a story and you just want to like have fun with your players and you kind of create a situation, and you don't want to get bogged down with the dice.
Yeah, the rules shouldn't ever feel like they stand in the way of telling a good story, in my opinion. And I have run games that we can talk about sometime that really, like, having the players roll the dice seemed like the worst thing you could have them do. Like, they needed to, but it was like, oh man, this isn't going to work the way that I wanted it to. And you can tell the first time they roll the dice, and the mechanic is just like a lead balloon. But yeah, so I hope everybody enjoyed it. I enjoyed writing it. It was pretty fun coming up with it.
Yeah, it's a good time. And we obviously, we'll be coming back together with another game shortly, but we haven't decided on it. So,
and we don't know if it'll be a solo game for a bit or not. So we might do some more solo stuff or duo stuff. And then we'll do a postmortem. zombies post-mortem of this game this week. So yeah.
So cool. Well, anybody have any questions, Rex? You have any comments? Do you have any other games that you really enjoy?
Thank you, Rex. Yeah, stay tuned. We'll be doing more games. We try to stream every Monday. We try to post every Wednesday and Friday is what we try to post our recorded stuff.
Yeah, Wednesday and Friday. That sounds about right.
I don't think this Wednesday we have one, but we should have one for Friday and then next Wednesday. So
we have a series of bad events that happened. It was like, whoa.
Yeah. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you for listening to my game, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. I hope
you had fun.